Hello gang, and welcome to Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. Bit of a different video today. I'm going to do a deep dive into one of my favourite customizers over on Instagram, X-Men Legends. A lot of people make custom figures, but this dude goes one step beyond making retro card packaging to go with them, and that just... I don't know, it just scratches that itch for me because it shows you what could be, and some of the things are pretty darn awesome. You want to hear about them? Here it goes. So we're going to kick things off with what inspired me to do a new updated video for this creator, their Age of Apocalypse figures. These are ones that I would love to see. I really am so happy that Hasbro haven't abandoned the Age of Apocalypse entirely. We're about to get Gambit, but man, if we could get a few more of these. First of all, Carol Danvers, as she appears in the Weapon X series. If you've not read Age of Apocalypse, go read the original AOA. But this Commando version of Carol Danvers, really cool. And yeah, they've absolutely, especially with the box art, yeah, that's some nice Adam Kubert pencils on there, really done her justice. Then we got Polaris, who I think, and I could be wrong, but she appears in X Factor. I think she either gets rescued from the slave pens. Yes, she does. There you go. I read it quite recently. She gets rescued from Apocalypse's slave pens by Cyclops. Even though he's working for Apocalypse, he's also kind of ferrying mutants to safety and whatnot. He's trying to be a good dude. Scott Summers always is. So yeah, Polaris was liberated by Scott Summers, and I think he was caught while trying to get her out as well. Again, go read Age of Apocalypse if you've not. But then again, if you're watching this video, yeah, you've probably read Age of Apocalypse. Then we're building out the Astonishing X-Men team from AOA, a new version of Banshee. And Banshee, we're doing pretty well for Banshees recently. We got the training costume, now we've got classic Banshee, but AOA Banshee with the two different heads in this pack, yeah, looks absolutely glorious. This dude, yeah, does the character justice. And continuing to build out that team, we're getting Age of Apocalypse. I say we're getting, like Hasbro have announced them. No. Just the tease of customs. But we're getting this awesome Storm from Age of Apocalypse. One of my favorite looks for the character. I love the kind of almost Japanese style looking robes with the shorter kind of haircut. Really wicked. And again, X-Men Legends, done the character justice. Now, one that I would love to see an update for, Blink. The Blink that we have is fine. She's good, even, I would say. Got a nice little teleporting Blink portal that she comes with, but she's not perfect, especially for the Age of Apocalypse look for the character. So to get a redo in a bit more of a Joe Madureira kind of style, I'd love to see that on some gorgeous AOA style card back retro packaging. Yeah, that would be amazing. Oh, Dave, let me just stop you there because Legendsverse, who sponsor Model Behaviour, have been some busy bees. They have been adding so many new toy lines to their website. I want to take a moment just to tell you what you can find if you want to go on there to catalogue and curate your action figure collection. Not only do they have Marvel Legends, folks, but they got a whole lot more, and I got to take a deep breath because they also cover Mafex, DC Multiverse, Star Wars The Black Series, G.I. Joe Classified, Marvel Select, Marvel Kenner, NECA Ultimate, Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, Mezco 112, SH Figure Arts, Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers, aka Jada Street Fighter, Transformers, WWE Ultimate, DC Direct, DC Collectibles, Masters of the Universe, Good Smile Company, Mortal Kombat, and Spawn. So if there is an action figure line that you don't collect or that you collect that's not on there, well, it probably will be soon because these guys just don't stop. And that's why I love having them as a sponsor because, man, it's very easy to sing the praises of a company that's working so hard. If you collect Marvel Legends or any of the action figures that I just listed, go check these guys out. So first up, we've got this Madeline Pryor, who's in a kind of a Hellion sort of look for her costume. We do have Madeline from the X-Men 97 show, but first of all, that's not accurate to the show itself, which is fine, it was probably based on concept art, but also we're lacking a certain little underboob, and I don't want to be that guy who's like, give me underboob or give me death. But It is kind of a quintessential part to Madeline Pryor's costume. I'm sure it serves some kind of tactical advantage when in magical combat. You gotta let yourself breathe, I guess. But this figure, it just hits the right kind of character aspects that really bring her to life. I thought this was pretty cool. And now, Charles, we got Moira McTaggart, and that's a terrible Scottish accent. I'm gonna drop that. That's awful. But what's not awful is this action figure. We do have a Moira, but she's in her hoxpox civilian kind of guise. This is more of the superhero type costume, but with the lab coat, which I really love. And that's something I'll give Marvel Legends credit for. The little innovation with the arms you can pop off to put the lab coat on and off, that's kind of cool. And this is a fun version of Moira. Now we've got a very different looking Polaris. We have the X-Factor Polaris who came in that 2-pack with Havoc, but this apparently is from a time where Zaladane had stolen her powers and she had a secondary mutation. I'm not familiar with it. That's just what X-Men Legends put in the write-up. That's good enough for me, but it's still a good looking version of the character. Quentin Quire, Kid Omega. Now this is pretty cool, because we do have a Quentin Quire already, but he's in a very modern version of his costume, where really, Quentin Quire came to fame during, was it Siege on Xavier's? Or, no, that wasn't it. But there was some story during the new X-Men rise and reign where he was kind of powered up with kick, and he was just this bratty, obnoxious school kid that was leading like a Magneto was right type rebellion at Xavier's school. That was really cool. And this figure, that's him in that kind of school kid outfit. I think it's really awesome. I'd love to see a regular version of this, but not because it would be better, but just so that then I could buy it. Jubilee now in what's termed her Dead X-Men costume. Not familiar with that story, but I do know that we could always benefit with more versions of Jubilee, because we got a whole bunch of her mall kid 90s yellow trench coat look, but we're still missing, I think we might get a Generation X one, since they're building out Generation X. But this new iteration on her old style costume, I dig it. This one's kind of cool. Now we're kind of stepping away from the X-Men, going to some street-level characters. Then again, is Typhoid Mary a mutant? I don't know. I need to read more of the Daredevil comics that she appears in. But what I do know is that this is the classic costume that we really want. Because we've got a more modern one, which of course was Marvel Legends going, oh, what's that? You want Typhoid Mary? Well, here you go. And it's like, no, you know the one that we want. They're like, yeah, don't worry, we'll sell that to you again later. In the meantime, though, we've got this awesome custom, which particularly I really love, has the old Marvel Hall of Fame card back, which is so bright and colourful. Big bang of early 90s nostalgia with this one. I really like this. Adam X Extreme! Paul Heyman approved. This was the most 90s X-Men character ever made. You want blades? Oh, he's got blades all over. You want a backward baseball cap, some braids, a little soul patch? Such a dork. If you look up the dictionary for, like, trying too hard, yeah, this dude right here. But you know what? In action figure form, yeah, I kind of love this because it's so silly, so over the top. But the figure itself here, oof, so well made. And speaking of the 90s, GW Bridge. Considering how many S.H.I.E.L.D. figures we have now. We had that beautiful 3-pack last year. Plus we got the Army Builders as well. We got, what's the head of the lady who replaced Nick Fury? She's in the MCU. No, it's gone. It'll come to me. Nonetheless, though, we really need GW because he led his team in X-Force, and just this version as well. Very Rob Liefeld, the bright colours, the pockets and pouches. I really love it. We've got a few Emma Frosts, and we do even have the White Queen version from the Hellfire Club box set. But I don't want to buy a 4-pack Hellfire Club box set for over £100. I just want a single-carded released Emma Frost, and that's exactly what this is, and Bayek, especially with the soft goods, this looks real nice. That's what definitely justifies the existence of this. Not just the single card, but man, some lovely, fluffy, soft goods to go with the cape. Yeah, that sets this one apart. In the words of Dave Bautista, give me what I want! Hasbro Marvel Legends, come on! I mean, seriously, we've got a Feral, but she's She needs an upgrade, like a big upgrade. And this classic 90s version with the pink costume and just the beautiful sculpting that's been done for the headpiece on this as well looks absolutely phenomenal. The beautiful, bright card back, trying out of words. I do that sometimes. Normally I restart, but no, not in this case. You're just going to get me garbling my sentences. Look at the pretty pictures. That's why we're here. Now, unlike the previous Madeline Pryor, who, as I said, did have that kind of Hellions, more modern sort of look, this is proper Inferno Goblin Queen. I love this. Such an over-the-top costume, but that's what it needs to be. So much fun. Hey, look, the statistics are out, and the numbers don't lie. Adult toy collectors are dominating the market, and we demand our comic-accurate costumes. And when I say we, you know I mean me. And if we ever got a figure like this, well, we wouldn't, but it'd be a lot cooler if we did. Now, this is one I feel has to be an inevitability at some point. Just a classic single-release 90s carded psylocke. I mean, I think we are going to get her at some point this year, probably in a 2-pack for a Marvel vs. Capcom wave, which is still not officially happening, but, I know a guy who knows a guy. I think it's coming. Especially if we get her with the Crimson Dawn makeup on her face as well, because that could be a nice little nod to one of the rarest, most expensive Marvel Legends ever made, which is Crimson Dawn Psylocke. So if we could get a single version of this character, oof, I would love to get my hands on this, because the older one that we have, it's decent, but man, it does show its age. A modern version, I'd snap that up. Now, there's a certain someone who I know would give their eye teeth for this figure. Rachel Summers, Phoenix, with the red costume and the spikes. This is a big missing piece for the Excalibur set. And Hasbro, the Marvel Legends team, they have been teasing that this is going to happen in the near future. I think maybe Dan Yun might have posted a picture of the Excalibur team with like, whoop, only one missing. And it's like, yeah? So what are you going to do about that? In the meantime, though, this wonderful creator has made a wonderful looking action figure. If the one that we get eventually actually looks half as good as this, I think a lot of people are going to be very happy. Now, Storm is a character that we certainly have plenty of different versions of, but we don't have this more, I want to say, late 90s, early 2000s looking costume. It's hard for me to place Storm's different looks because besides her 90s and her classic look, she has had so many different variants and combinations of styles throughout the years. It's hard to pin down different specifics. Nonetheless, though, this purple one, yeah, looks awful pretty. I wouldn't hate to have an action figure of it. Now, this Sunspot is great just because of how creative it is. Yes, we've got X-Force Sunspot, and he's actually pretty good. I do like that costume. But just the fully powered up black all over with the yellow energy balls crackling off of him, that's really fun. With the super bright, bold 90s looking packaging, I really love that. Again, like I said in the intro, it's the packaging, man. I just love what this dude has done. So good. This figure, it looks terrific. And speaking of a classic Jubilee earlier, this is one that would kind of incorporate the lab coat technology that I mentioned with Moira McTaggart, where you can pop the arms off and then take the coat on and off. I kind of dig that. So as a new iteration on Mallrat Jubilee, yeah, this is kind of fun. And just to complete the trifecta, I like that word, of Goblin Queen Madeline Pryor figures, this is an Inferno Goblin Queen in some very cool, dark, brooding, spooky-looking cardback case. Sorry, words are hard. I'm looking at this, I'm trying to talk to this. It's a lot. People think YouTubing is easy. It is, but not for me. Now, this is really fun and kind of opens up a bit of a history book for me as well. Lady Deathstrike in a costume that I've never seen before, and I'm starting to think, because let's face it, my X-Men history is terrible. A few big gaps of several decades. But is this a human version of Lady Deathstrike? I mean, she's always human, but before she gets all the cybernetic implants, it looks like this is more of just a samurai kind of version. Bright popping colours with the pink and the purple. I like it. And now that makes me want to go back in time and find out where on earth this look come from. Wow, I'm not going to edit that. Now, Marvel Legends put the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit by revealing their Fabian Cortez, who's probably one of the biggest members of the Acolytes. He's certainly the one that I remember from the cartoon. But now we can go down the rabbit hole. So how about Emilia Vought? Because we got to start building out the Acolytes team now. Because Magneto's cool. He'd look a lot cooler, flanked by a whole bunch of acolytes behind him, especially Exodus. In the meantime, though, this Emilia Vought in the classic costume, yeah, this is wicked. Yukio, Wolverine's ward. I actually do know this character, mainly from a badass 5-issue story that Steve Skroce did the pencils for. Oh, gorgeous. It came out around about the late 90s, I think. Wolverines never looked better, especially in Japan. So Yukio, unless I'm completely wrong, which, you know what, it wouldn't be a first time. But yeah, he kind of took her under his wing as his kind of, ward, apprentice, whatever you want to call it. And this is one that I don't think we would ever necessarily get as a Marvel Legend. Maybe a bit too much of a fringe character. So see, a custom version, that's pretty cool to see. This is interesting. Sometimes you gotta look at a figure that Marvel Legends have revealed and just roll your eyes and think, fine, I'll do it myself. That's what X-Men Legends thought here, because they were less than impressed with the X-Men 97 version. So they're like, no. Let me show you how you could have done this, Jean Grey. And I guts to admit, I do like the improvements they've made, especially just the bright color tone as well. That's real nice. And seeing the process of how they put it all together, yeah, that's pretty wicked. Now, this is a little bit different. I like this. Dark Phoenix, but in a translucent body. And also makes me think, dude, how did you even make that? Like, there are no translucent bodies that you would have... This raises a lot of questions. I want to know what the actual creative process was of making this. That's why I wanted to showcase this, because these ain't just repaints. There's a lot going on here. I think I might need to talk to the creator directly just to find out, like, dude, how did you put this together? And how does it feel to, like, put a lot of current Marvel Legends to shame? Because this, I know I'm easy to please. Just translucent plastic, hold it up to the sun, see the light pour through. Golly, it looks pretty. Yeah, I'd love to have this. Now, this is a whole new character I'm being introduced to with this one. Candy Southern. Nope. I got nothing. I like the look of her, though. Got like a little computer here as well. Reminds me of like WCW, where Terry Runnels had like this computer that could predict the outcome of wrestling matches. The early 90s were a wild time for pro wrestling. And this lady here, yeah, Candy Southern, she would have fit right in. Terry Taylor. That was it. That was the wrestler. She had like an algorithm to predict his matches. Not that anyone knew what the word algorithm meant back then, I don't think. This is a big bang of 90s nostalgia for me. Around about 1997, maybe, we got an Onslaught wave. And they were all not great. Some of them were okay, but they were kind of very much pre-posed sort of figures. McFarlane would have loved them. And one of them was Jean Grey with the Juggernaut trapped inside the Gem of Cyttorak. That was really, really fun. So they've literally recreated that old figure 2-pack, but with modern technology and articulation and the custom painting, but also it's just recreating that Onslaught card back. I love that. This takes me straight back to the mid-90s. I want to take you for a ride. Da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da. We got a 2-pack for Marvel vs. Capcom. Was that the song for Marvel vs. Capcom? I hope it was. Otherwise, you just get a little bit of karaoke there. So we've got the Player 2 darker Cyclops variant version, along with Roll as well, which is a character from Capcom that I'm not familiar with. And that was one thing I always had a bit of a problem with the Marvel vs. Capcom games, was that some of the characters mash up beautifully. And then other ones I'm like, you don't really aesthetically kind of fit with the Marvel characters. But there you go. Nonetheless, this is recreating a 2-pack from the mid-90s once again. And I can picture the old figures. So seeing them redone in this new form, that's great to see. And just to finish up, that's all the videos, but there's a few pictures done as well. So I mentioned Generation X Jubilee. We've got her right here. She looks terrific. Then also building out Generation X, there's Sync as well, which... again, I'm hoping and assuming we will be getting official versions from Marvel Legends at some point, since they are building out Gen X now. Then there's a modern version of Cyclops. I'm not sure if this is pre Krakoa. I think it's pre-Krakoa era Cyclops, or maybe it's even the young version that came from back in time. Again, X-Men gets baffling for clever people, let alone me. Then we've got more of a classic-looking Rogue when she had the crazy, almost Wolverine-style hair from back in the day. Then, this would be great. The original 5 X-Men. There was a 5-pack of the original 5 X-Men, but it's real old now. So a single release of each character, that would be great. So full-on Frosty the Snowman type Iceman, that would be great. Do the other 4 characters as well? That'd be wicked. And then as a comparison, we've got Modern Iceman as well in his depowered version, and I know a lot of folks would actually like depowered versions of the X-Men. Then Charlotte Jones, is that? I don't know Charlotte Jones. That's a little gap in my knowledge there. Then a big favorite of mine, Joseph. The first X-Men comic I bought from the newsstands was the first appearance of Joseph, where everyone thought he was a de-aged Magneto. You could kind of kit bash this character now with one of the training suits and one of the heads from the X-Men 97 Magneto, but an official version, that'd be nice to see. Then dark black version of Psylocke, her X-Force. Is it Uncanny X-Force? When she's doing the Wet Works team? That would be great to see. Then Zaladane, who I really... this might shock you, but I'm not overly familiar with. But I know from the previous write-up that she took Polaris's powers at one point. Then Psylocke in her more ninja-type guise, before she's just, Jim Lee drawn bikini eye candy. God bless the early 90s. Then, speaking of cheesecake eye candy, Savage Land Rogue, one of those figures that we're probably never going to get. But honestly, this might be the best looking custom version that I've seen of the character. Then Temper, who, lo and behold, Dave actually knows a modern X-Men character. I'd started reading the post-Krakoa X-Men comics, so Temper, a part of Cyclops' team up in Alaska, I want to say is where they're based. Then another one that I'd be desperate to get my hands on. Angel in his blue and white 90s costume. The only thing I would want to make this perfect is some metal wings to have with him. But the classic feather wings on this one, yeah, it does look gorgeous. Really pretty. Then just a single release Scarlet Witch. We've got a few Scarlet Witches. We got the 3-pack and the retro, but a new modern version, I'd appreciate that. Then just another showcase of the Goblin Queen there. Now Tempo. No, I don't know Tempo. Looks, to my eye, very Krakoa era. Is that right? That's a wild shot in the dark. Then, probably one of the most requested releases. A new retro-carded Mystique. I would love to get my hands on one of those, because the original one costs a fortune at the moment. There's an animated one, but no, not so much. I want classic comic book Mystique on a retro card. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Then Wiccan. I think some new Avengers figures would be great to see. Wiccan, you could put in a 2-pack with Hulkling. Hulkling would be great fun because of all his different powers, just making him look like a badass action figure. Those two together, yeah, I would definitely pick that up. Then Feral Wolverine. Oh my goodness. We got a lot of Wolverine figures. But there's always some other versions that I wouldn't be mad about getting my hands on. And again, being a kid of the 90s, yeah, Feral Wolverine, I'd love to see a new version of. Then, as I said before, regular Psylocke. Just Jim Lee style to go with that 92 team. That would be fantastic. And finally, Gambit. Not just any Gambit, but spacesuit style Gambit. Because way back in the early 90s, Toy Biz did Wolverine in the spacesuit. So to do all the X-Men, look, that's definitely for the X-Men fan who has everything. I gotta admit, I probably wouldn't pick those up if they were officially released, because I'm like, I only need so many X-Men. But to have those spacesuit variants, that'd be a lot of fun to see. And folks, that does it for my deep dive on the X-Men Legends Instagram reels and photos that they've put up there. Huge big shout out and thank you to X-Men Legends. I contacted him before this video and said, yo, do you mind if I take all your stuff and make a video? He's like, yeah, go for it. That's what I love in this community. We just like to help each other make good content. At least I hope this was good content. But guys, if you know other awesome creators that you'd like to see a deep dive on, comment below and let me know, because once I start looking into these archives, yeah, it's an amazing rabbit hole. And as I said, I did do a video on this creator about a year ago with all of his other stuff. So I'll link that in the comments or in the description, and hopefully it'll autoplay after this video too. So gang, thank you so much for watching. Thank you all the channel members who sponsor, well, yeah, you do kind of sponsor me. You keep the lights on. So thank you for all your support, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Coffee. Big time.